Let's switch gears and talk about the stuff you've done outside of wrestling. I know you've done a lot of charity work or things outside of wrestling, community service. What kinds of things have you done to help out in your community?
Well, this goes back now. I was very involved with my children's schools. I was I guess, homeroom mother for several years for both my kids' schools. My kids are 2 years apart no, 3 years apart. Yeah, they're 3 years apart. And went to different schools at one point, and I was the house mom for both kids. So I would be in charge of, like, the book fairs, the Christmas wrapping parties. I was a coach for cheerleading. Um, I did, anything that had to come up, I was involved in, and this was running back and forth for years, and then COVID hit. And we decided to pull the kids from school and homeschool because I just don't, well, my husband and we don't like the way that the school system is going these days and wanted our kids out. So this is like the fourth year, third or fourth year that we are homeschooling the children. So I actually am here teaching the kids during the day now. So I really don't have time to actually volunteer anymore, but back in the day, I did everything under the sun at the
Yeah.
kids' schools. As far as like charities, the only thing that I do for charity, I donate every month to St. Jude. That's a really important charity. I feel like these kids need a fair shot in life. And one day I clicked on a video of the hospital and just burst into tears and signed up for their program where they just pull it every month. So we actively give to St. Jude. I wish I can do more physically, but I have the kids here teaching and stuff. So right now, that's my biggest concern. They're my children. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that's important that you're helping to educate your kids
Hmm.
because they are the future and
Sure.
they need to learn about the basics. You know,
Oh, of
your
course.
your subjects and the tools that will help them guide them forward into to life and what they want, what dreams they want to pursue.
Hmm.
And so that's good that you're being that parent, that motherly figure to guide them along and steer them in the right direction because it's a hard world out there.
I mean, these days it is, and I'm blessed because I'm home and I can do it. There's a lot of, two people that work in the household and they have to be at jobs and they can't do it. I have so many friends who wish they can do it, but they're not capable of. So I'm lucky that I get to be home with my kids and I can teach them what I believe in and what I want them to learn. So, that's my priority right now and will always be my top priority are my children.
I just think education is just so important because we need to know about how to do certain things, and if we don't, we're not going to end up in a good place.
Right.
So the more we learn, the more we grow as human beings, I think we'll be better off as a society.
Sure.
So I think that, when you're teaching, I mean, it's a job, but you have to be able, like, there like strategies you have that can help your kids learn, different techniques.
I wouldn't say different techniques. It's just we get to pick the curriculum. So we are hands-on with what they are learning. It's not just like they throw something at them, you have to learn this. No, we can pick the courses. I know exactly what they're studying every day. We pick the books that they're going to read. Everything is age appropriate. There's a lot of stuff out there that is not age appropriate that are hitting the schools these days, and I just don't approve of it. So, my biggest thing is having my children learn what I feel is right for their grade level. And, there are important things from the past that the schools are just not teaching anymore. and, I feel like they're important, so we're teaching them. And it's as simple as that. They're rewriting history, and I'm not a fan of it. So, we get to dictate what they're learning, and they're safe, and I don't have to worry about school shootings and, all this god awful stuff that's happening to these children out there. I'm praying for a change, and, hopefully we'll see one. But it's a terrible, terrible world where you send your kids off, and at one point you knew they were safe, and now you have no idea.
It's so hard.
It's
Uh,
very difficult. So,
very, yeah,
we just took the initiative and said, "No, we're gonna put a stop to it," and it works for us. I don't have
yeah,
to set an alarm, I don't have to put them
yeah.
on a bus in the cold, like, it works.
Easy.
It I wouldn't say it's easy,
It's
but
easier because
it
when you're going to school, you're going to another building. So
yeah,
when
the
you're
stress level.
in-house,
Yeah, it's a lower stress level for all of us involved, and I enjoy having them home. I like
yeah.
them being with me, so
Favorite part about teaching?
just having them be here. I get to sit with them, and I get to see them, I get to see the wheels turning, and I get to see them be creative, and that's the best thing when your kid is learning something and they catch on, and it's just like, I created this little person and they're doing such a great job, and it makes you just so happy. I
It
like
really
that.
it really is fun, to use your creativity and turn out something really incredible. So
Yeah,
that's so cool that you're doing that. And yeah, as far as the St. Jude stuff, I mean, yeah, it's so heartbreaking to hear whenever a kid, is going through just so much pain in their life and the
sure.
families. So uh it's it's really nice to see that, people are out there making a difference and trying to help, you know, reduce the amount of stress going on in these kids' lives because they don't need to deal with that.
No, and they didn't ask for it. It's such a good charity. And it's just the one charity that I will always fall back on, um, because they deserve a shot at life. They're too young to be going through this. So, I mean, I wish I could do more, but hopefully one day there'll be a cure and we won't have to do this anymore.
Yeah. Why do you feel passionate about helping out in your community?
When I was capable of doing it, I just liked doing it to help make a change, to help the schools, to help the kids that were involved. Again, I'm a big advocate of, children in general. I love little kids. I love working
Mhm.
with little kids, and I got to be around my kids. I got to go to their school at that time and help and see what was going on, and have my hands in the pot, so to speak, and help out with things. So it's always nice to try and give back, and not expect anything in return. Just to see the kids happy was enough for me.
Yeah.
So at that point I felt like I was at their schools more than I was home. For the longest time I was a caregiver for my mom. She recently passed away about a year ago.
I'm so
But
sorry.
thank you.
You're welcome.
But my husband and I took care of her for almost 16 years. She lived with us. So I was the last, not this past year, but prior to before she passed away, we were housebound because we couldn't leave her alone. So that was a big thing too. Like, we couldn't go anywhere because we were taking care of my mom. And I didn't even work because I couldn't leave the house. Just took care of mom, and did local stuff when I could. But she was the priority then. Um, so, being home, taking care of her, taking care of the kids, that was a big deal for me. Once my kids are grown, maybe I'll find a project to do in the community, but until then, those kids are my top priority.